Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Cully and Conlon. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. With me is always Yukon legend and current Western Connecticut State head coach, Maria Conlon. Hello, Maria.
Hi, Steve.
And a very special guest joining us once again, Maria's assistant and very helpful in life as well. Another Yukon lady, Stacy Nasser. Stacy, thank you
Hey,
for joining us.
anytime.
Anytime. I appreciate that. So I wanted to ask, they were talking about the Sorry. I was asking because the WNBA is doing, obviously some early voting for the All-Star game that's coming up. And obviously, Caitlin Clark is one of the top fan favorite selections. And also, really up there is Nafisa Collier, and she's a Yukon girl. I don't know much about her. I know she played from 2016 to 2019. So I wanted to ask Maria and Stacy, kind of what's her story, what's her path been?
Yeah, I guess I could take that. I mean, she over the last couple years has really uh, been one of the best players in the league. She was a star at UConn. She was really great, but I feel like the last 2 years, she's really come out of her shell as a pro and become just a dominant force. I mean, she's a three-level scorer. She plays great defense. Uh, Nice human being. So I'm happy to see her start to get some of her flowers.
She's just a good person. And has she been in the league for a while?
Since 2019.
I'm sorry. That's right. Okay, but this is like her breakout year. I mean, she's been having a phenomenal season.
I think last year was more of a breakout year for her. I think this year,
She's getting more attention.
yeah, I mean, she was awesome last year.
Even at
Put
the
them at the top
Olympics.
of the league. Led in a bunch of different categories. But yeah, I would say not so much a breakout year this year because I feel like she had that last year, but
Right.
I think she's definitely doing it on a more consistent basis every night than she has in the
And
past.
Stacy, what were you going to say?
She was kind of big time in the Olympics last year. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like that was
Oh,
a huge event for her, too. And then starting the 3-on-3 league also, like, I feel like her name's been more consistently out there and more dominant.
we also read that our girl Paige Beckers is ranked number 6 currently in voting. And there's also Kelsey Plum from Los Angeles, Satu Sabala. I don't know if I said that right, from Phoenix, and the girl of our dreams, Angel Reese from Chicago, and Alicia Gray from Atlanta. So I mean, that's a pretty good squad right there.
Those are the top 6 vote getters.
Yeah, they're in the top 10, I believe.
I can't believe Angel Reese is in
I
there.
mean, I'm sorry, Asia Wilson is in there too. Stewie's in there, and then Sabrina Ionescu.
Anescu. Yep.
Yeah, Anescu, Paige, and then Kelsey Plum, and then the girls I read off. Those were the fan voting counts for 50% of the vote, and the current players and media count for 25 apiece. So that's how they're doing it. And I mean, I kind of get that because they want the fans to have the experience. So they give the fans the voting power. The other thing I wanted to ask you was Indiana losing their coach, Stephanie White. She had to take a leave of absence. What were your thoughts on that, Stacy? Because she came over from was it Chicago, or I mean
Connecticut.
Connecticut, right? She came over from Connecticut. She's been with Indiana. They had obviously early injuries with Caitlin out for a little bit, and Stephanie is regarded, as Maria said, a really good coach. Losing her for a couple weeks is critical. I mean, I don't know when exactly the All-Star break is. Is it over 4th of July weekend or something like that? Well,
I'm not too sure when All-Star break is. I mean, I think, obviously it doesn't help when your coach has to sit out, especially because Indiana is a young group that they're still probably looking for a little bit more guidance. But, even their young players have a couple years under their belt now that, I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like, coaching at the professional level is maybe a little different than at the college level or even younger. It's not like the players don't know how to play. It's not like they don't have high IQs. It's not like they can't recognize what works for them and what doesn't. But I think any sort of shakeup within your normal routine or your normal just expectation of your season, doesn't help in any way.
Maria, what are your thoughts on Stephanie having to miss time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. I know it was due to personal reasons. I'm like the wrong person to ask. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't take a leave of absence for like
I know you don't.
anything.
You don't for
So
anything.
You took one day off for the birth of your son.
that was it. That was it. Then I was back
there.
at it the next day.
And I think you were coaching us, like you were like texting me during the game also.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not, I'm not one to judge. I mean, everybody's got personal reasons. I think that when you're coaching individuals, you're managing, you're leading, right? Speed of the shop is the speed of the boss. So I agree with Stacey that I don't think at this level it's as big of an impact as it is on the college level, and the head coach who really is doing a lot of just the strategizing and things of that nature. I think that it becomes a little bit more difficult, but I do think that it's just not good timing because, they started off all right, then Caitlin was out, and then she's come back, and they've dropped a couple since she's come back. So I think, it's if I'm Stephanie White, right? Like if we were like 10, if they were 10-2 and you want to take like a personal leave, like go for it. But what happens now if like she goes on personal leave for a couple of weeks and the assistant coach blows it out of the water and they start winning a lot of games?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I mean, there's always that possibility too, that the kids end up responding really well to the assistant that takes over, which is I think what Sean Kelly is the assistant, I think.
That
who
changes
probably
the
would
dynamic.
take over.
You're right.
Yeah, I think it does, because if they react really well and they respond to his coaching style, and then Stephanie comes back, it's like I don't know.
Hey, yeah.
So
what do you do? The other big news going around is what is wrong with the Las Vegas Aces. The 5-6 start, they had a great season last year, and things seem to be rocky as we speak. They have the reigning MVP in Asia Wilson, but she's missed the last couple of games because of a concussion. What do you think? I mean, did they make mistakes in the off season? Did they make mistakes with some of the draft picks they brought in? I mean, Becky Hammond basically says it's a lack of consistency that they don't play a 40-minute game. Stacey, what are your thoughts on the Aces and their struggles?
I think losing some of the players they lost doesn't help. And they had a squad that was together for a little bit the last couple years. So obviously having to like adjust with some new players and things like that. I got to be honest, off the top of my head, I don't necessarily remember who their draft picks were. But I don't remember thinking after the draft that they were one of the teams that like blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think Becky Hammond is a good coach, and she's had success. And I think she's just got to figure out maybe what resonates with the players that she has now, since she lost some of the leadership that she had previously.
Right. And they had 3 consecutive number 1 picks. They had Kelsey Plum. They had Asia Wilson in 2018. They had Jackie Young in 2019. And, the trio played together for a while, and they reached the WNBA finals in 2020. But, keeping a championship core is not easy, Maria, especially with the contract structure in the WNBA, because they tend not to, they don't sign the 4 and 5 year contracts all the time. So it could be year to year, it could be every 2 years. So the personnel changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think when I look at the Aces, obviously Asia's been out for a couple of games, but she's back, and you're gonna get your 20 and 12 from her every game. That's kind of like a standard, right? Um, Chelsea Gray has battled a lot of injuries over the last couple of years.
Right.
And she's missed a lot of games, or she's they've been doing time management with her a lot. So I personally think that Kelsey Plum leaving, although she wasn't the leading scorer, I think there's something about her approach to the game, her moxie, her attitude that they're really, really missing. And they brought in Jewel Lloyd, which Jewel's a great player, but now she's in a scenario where she came from being like the guy to now having to defer to some of these other players. And I think it's just going to take time to have all of that mesh together. But I think Becky will figure it out. We're like almost 1/3 done with the season
Yeah.
already, so there's still a lot of time left.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting dynamic. Frank wanted me to ask you, when we had our show last night, there were so many injuries, especially late in the season, with Tatum going down, Halliburton going down. They believe that the shoes are the issue, that the shoes aren't made the same. Everyone wants lighter shoes, mid-cut shoes, and that could be the cause of the injuries. What are your thoughts on that?
Actually, can I just say something real quick? I read something today that all 3 players who tore their Achilles in the NBA championships wore number 0. So I think that has something to do with it.
Frank also said that too.
Yeah.
He said it was number 0.
I mean, listen, I'm not a shoe expert, nor am I like a doctor, because there's a lot of players who haven't torn their Achilles that probably wear the same shoes.
Right.
I'm always surprised by these basketball players that wear like the low shoes, or even like, I just don't know how they do it. But again, I think like I would like to see a study more on. I mean, maybe it is the shoes. I don't really know. I don't even know what shoes those 3 players wear. So I don't know if they wear the same shoes, if they're wearing different shoes. It's definitely something, I guess, to investigate a little bit. But it could just be something as simple as like, I mean, again, it's a freaking long season.
Exactly.
These guys are playing a lot of minutes, especially down the stretch. I'd actually be more interested to see something in terms of like, we talk all the time in college on the women's side about like ACL tears and
Yeah.
sports specific training and the wear and tear it takes on your body. I just wonder if we're starting to see that a little bit on the guys' side, and maybe the Achilles is something that relates to that. Again, this is speculation. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I'd be hard pressed to believe that it's the shoe. And I only say that because, like, everybody's planting in different ways on different shoes. So who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The
But I do know that Oklahoma City won. Like I said
yes,
they
you
would.
predicted that. You predicted
Early
that,
on, early
and
on in the season, I predicted that.
you
And
were
everybody can say, "Oh, well, if Halliburton didn't get hurt, oh, okay. Well, if Jason Tatum didn't get hurt, then maybe
you
the
had
Indiana Pacers wouldn't have even been there." So it is what it
you
is.
had a lot of people eating crow because of
Yeah.
that. They thought Indiana was going to come back to win. The big news going around, Golden State, who you talked about, they are a good bet to make the playoffs. They're having an unexpected good season for an expansion team. What are your thoughts on their success, and if it can continue, and if they can make the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I suspect that they will, just based off of what we've seen for the first third of the season. I think, when I saw that coach get hired at Golden State, I was like, wow, that's such a great hire for them. I think she'll do a great job in that market. I think it's a great market for basketball. They're getting great attendance at games.
Yeah.
So I'm not like overly surprised. I'm impressed because anytime you take an expansion team like that, it's not like the easiest. But I think that coach was up for the task, and I think she's doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah. No, I do too. And I believe they also re-signed Caitlin Chen, so I think she may have been the missing link all along.
Oh yeah, is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So I know you are away. You have a
Yeah.
conference that you're going to, or is
Yeah,
that
I'm in Montreal. I've never been here before.
Oh,
It's
that's right. You're gonna have a ball, St. Catherine Street. Make sure you go there.
yeah, that's I believe something down that way tonight, but it reminds me a lot of Europe, actually,
Yeah.
Montreal. Because
Yeah,
I've
it
been to
is
Toronto, and Toronto is very more,
American.
it kind of reminds me of like a Boston or a New York, but um it's more modern Toronto, I guess is what I would say. But yeah, it's still a gazillion degrees here,
Yeah.
and I really should have brushed up on my French before coming out here.
Yeah, because they don't
Even
speak
just like
English.
getting through the airport, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what do these signs say?" At least it seems like it's everybody's willing to translate into English. So, yeah, I'm up here until Saturday, and try to keep. We're staying at the Ritz Carlton. This is probably one of the nicest hotels, if not the
It
nicest
is.
hotel I've
It
ever been in.
is. It is. Yeah, you're gonna get pampered. It's nice
Yeah,
and
it's
fancy.
crazy.
It's nice and fancy. What is the conference for exactly?
It's for my financial job, so
Oh, okay.
they take the 100 top people throughout the country, based off of a production level, and they take you away to a trip. But I was telling Stacy earlier, right now in this room, I feel like I'm Kevin McAllister in Home Alone 2. So tonight, I'm gonna have a little bubble bath. There's TV in there, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch some TV, and then I'm gonna put on the robe. I'm gonna sit in bed, and I might throw on what's that movie that he's always watching in Home Alone? The
Oh, the guy
scoundrel
with
movie or whatever.
the guy with the gun that shoots
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Yeah,
I might just pull one
I
of
don't know
those
the
tonight.
name of the movie, but that's actually
Yeah,
really
put on-
great.
I'll just Google what's
Yeah,
the
put
movie in
on
Home Alone.
put on Goodfellas. I think you'll have it covered.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Goodfellas, you'll have her covered. All right. Well, I know you got to jump. You can jump off. I just wanted to ask Stacy a couple more questions
Yeah,
that
you guys
came
have
in,
fun.
and you have a safe trip, and we'll talk with you when you get back.
Go OKC.
Yes, rub it in
Let's
everyone's
go.
face. We'll get a lot of comments for you.
I'm going to make an early prediction, too. I think Minnesota wins it on the women's side.
Oh, okay. You're going on record now.
I'm going
June
on record.
24th. Okay.
Minnesota Lynx taking it home.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
So, Stacy,
Yes.
how is life?
You know, life is always unpredictable. That's what I'll say.
It is unpredictable. The school year's over, though, correct?
The school year is over. I still work in the summer a little bit, summer hours, but yeah, the school year itself is over, which is nice. So the building's quiet.
Do you get to go over to the college at all and see? I mean, are any of the girls there, or do they all go home for the summer?
They all go home because unfortunately, like, Division III, you don't have scholarships and stuff. So
Right.
I mean, it's not like we cover their housing in the summer. Some of them are there doing summer school and whatnot, or
They
doing
do
summer
offer
school.
summer school. Okay.
Yeah, or some of them do it online. So they're taking classes, but they may still be home. And we were up there on Friday, just kind of giving like a little bit of a campus tour, which was nice. So, still pop in, and still really keeping an eye on the season and checking in with the kids and see how they're doing.
So I wanted to ask you, because this has been a big issue going forward with the WNBA, the collective bargaining agreement, especially with the players union. They signed a record 11-year, $2.2 billion television deal. They're going to get $200 million per year starting in 2026. But player salaries have not gone up dramatically. And, even the highest and the lower base salaries have not gone up. And, the league, and especially the women who play in the league, are frustrated. They know the business. They know where the league has been. They see where it's going, and they want to get their value for what they do on the court. In contrast to that, I mean, even last year with record ratings, with Caitlin Clark affecting attendance and selling out everywhere she went, the league lost $50 million. And it's technically, it's never turned a profit. So do you think that they have leverage going forward to try to negotiate a bigger slice of the pie and a better deal? Because they're the only professional league that doesn't get like a 50-50 split, or close to a 50-50 split with the league like other professional leagues do. So that was surprising for me to see. So I was just curious your thoughts, because I mean, a lockout, like Maria had said, could kill the momentum they have built, but they obviously want to get what they deserve. So what do you have any thoughts on the lockout, if they should go through with it? Can you hear me? You can't hear me? Okay, hold on. Let me try this. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can. I'm sorry. I'm driving and I'm clearly hitting some dead spots. But to go to your question about the CBA, I mean, I think part of the issue, aside from just them getting paid, is like there are a few things that require money for them to come up, other than just affecting their physical paychecks. Like, they're one of the only, probably the only professional, well, no, not the only, but one of the only professional leagues that still traveled like commercial.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, all this extra revenue, do you want it so that way you can travel a little better, so that way your quality of life when you're on the road is better? So some of the money could be moving towards that stuff instead of into their pockets. I also think, like, yes, Caitlin Clark has had a great effect on the league, and in general, there's been growth. But, last year, anyways, teams weren't necessarily seeing the same growth if she wasn't playing them.
Right, exactly.
And for someone who, owns a business, I mean, it's all well and great if you do well for 1 year and projections are amazing, but you don't want to, in my opinion, you don't want to jump the gun and start spending money that you don't have, based off like maybe one good year. So I would say kind of check the trends, and if it looks like it's going to be sustainable with or without Caitlin Clark. I mean, I saw too, like when she had her injury, she had a concussion and she was out for a little bit, sales kind of declined when she was out. So even though I think they absolutely deserve it, what I tell my students when we talk about this in my class, my sport management class, is like, you can't pay out money that isn't there. So,
Right.
Even I know that they've had more games televised this year than ever, but like me personally, I don't have NBA TV. So if those games are on NBA TV, I can't watch them.
Yeah.
Would I ever get NBA TV? Maybe, but I'm not there yet. So, if they're making strides in TV deals, that's huge, as we know that drives so much revenue. But, ultimately they have to bring the money in first before they can start seeing it in their paychecks.
No, absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But do you think there's a significant chance that there could be a lockout?
I think it would be
Or
stupid for them
a
to.
strike. I'm sorry, a strike.
Yeah, I think it would be stupid for them to do that. I don't know why you would want. I think it would be a step backwards. If people are coming and seeing your product and now they're starting to get more invested. I mean, last year in the NCAA tournament, I was like in my glory. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that, women's NCAA basketball would be as big as it was. And the fact that there were people, I mean, even let's say like people were betting on the games. I might go to a bar and someone's like, hey, can you put that LSU game on? Now, probably because they had bets on it, but previous to that, no one was ever betting on women's basketball. So, you know, I think you don't want to alienate your fans. And while I understand it's been a long journey for a lot of these players, and the path has been paved by many players, it's just we're seeing the positive effect of it now. Yeah, I think it'd be a terrible idea, in my opinion. I think you're just now people are going to lose interest again, and now you have to build up your fan base again.
Yeah, no, for sure they do. And I agree. It could come at the absolute worst time. Now, the other show I do, which I wanted you to come on and argue with my co-host, he believes that the WNBA going to Amazon, Netflix, Peacock, whatever, is going to hurt ratings and not help it. Do you think that? Do you think that going to the streaming services is going to hurt people being able to try to watch the games, or do you think that it could be a positive?
I think that's a tough question. Like where TV is now, there are a lot of people who don't have regular cable.
Yes, they've cut the cord.
Yeah, so there might be people who can't just watch ABC or CBS or things like that. Likewise, a lot of people, well, I don't want to say a lot of people. I mean, I know a lot of people who have access to different streaming services. So, but either way, I feel like you're going to be kind of locked out in some way. I mean, I think about when the Yes Network went to the Yes Network, and a lot of people were outraged about that. That you had to pay extra for this channel, and if you didn't have it, like you were SOL. So I mean, I think this is just the kind of the society we live in, where sometimes you have the streaming service, sometimes you don't. I know me personally, like I have no issue paying for a streaming service for 2 or 3 months if there's a show that I want to watch, and then I cancel it and then I buy another one because I want to watch stuff on there. I think if you're really interested in it, in the summer, maybe you pay a little bit here and there for a couple months so that way you can watch the games, and then come the winter, maybe you cancel them if you don't need them. I know not everybody's like that, but I just think that's how we are as a society and how we watch TV now anyways.
No, I agree too. And we've seen other leagues, especially the NFL, they'll have playoff games on Netflix. They have the game of the week Thursdays on Amazon Prime. And it's going to be the way of the future. Cable is obsolete. It doesn't generate revenue for advertisers. So I don't think it'll be bad at all. And I never got a chance to ask you, what was your opinion of the Unrivaled League? Did you enjoy it?
I didn't really watch it as much as I thought I would. Them too, they've got to figure that stuff out, because I don't know that they generated as much money sustained throughout the whole season as they thought they would. I think for them playing in one area, the fact that they don't travel hurts, because again, now fans are not able to come see you necessarily. I didn't like the fact that it was like full court 3-on-3.
Yeah, that's what Maria said too.
It just made for, I felt like it was a fast break every play. Like, what's fun about watching 3-on-3, or for me, even 5-on-5, I just love the strategy of it. Like, you have to move. It's more tiring sometimes to play 3-on-3 than 5-on-5. Because you can't stop. You have to keep moving. And, I thought it was okay. I think it's a great idea, so that way those guys don't have to go overseas. But Maria's brought up a good point to me. Like, it could hurt us as a nation in the long run for like the Olympics, because if they're not getting those reps in over the winter in 5-on-5, it could hurt us. But aside from that, for these guys to be able to make money and stay home and not have to go overseas without their families, I don't think is ever a negative thing.
Right. Because, we were talking about it. We had the argument over if Diana Taurasi is the Michael Jordan of the WNBA. And my co-host said he's going to take a poll at his restaurant bar with people. And he started to ask. And I can't wait to get the results of that, because I believe she is known fairly well. Obviously not to the extent that Jordan is, but I think she's known fairly well by this generation. She's got 6 Olympic gold medals. I mean, I was surprised. I didn't know she only won 1 MVP, but because she makes everyone else around her so much better, that kind of makes sense. But
yeah, I was. Oh, I'm sorry. I was surprised because, I would ask my students, like, who here knows who Diana Taurasi is? And I might get a handful of hand raises, but a lot of them didn't. Like the high school generation,
Really?
they're like, yeah. And I was shocked by that. And I'd be like, well, let me tell you about her,
Well, yeah. We put a parameter on it that it has to be like 22 and older and above, because I agree that the high school kids wouldn't know as much about her, especially since she just retired. And then my co-host had wanted me to ask, who would be your Mount Rushmore of the WNBA?
Current players or past players? Or
every past players, everyone, yeah.
I'm very biased just because I think, I'll go with the UConn players.
Yeah, I would too.
Which I know, I mean, that means I'm leaving like Lisa Leslie out, which is just outrageous.
I go with Dee and Stewie and Maya Moore. I mean,
and Sue. That would be my 4.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Because Sue also won 3 titles, and she won 1 MVP. So your rest of the week, you're going to be in school doing some work. Do you have some time for yourself for some R&R? And I love your sunglasses, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. What's nice is I took a vacation this week.
Oh, great.
But it's more of like a staycation, but it's just kind of
Yeah.
nice to, I mean, it's really hot out right now, so I'm trying to
I
take
know.
advantage of that. But luckily, yeah, I can kind of relax a little bit and take some time for myself.
Okay. Well, you need to stay on, Maria. I have a lake house in the Adirondacks. It's about 3.5 hours away from you guys. Actually, it's not, because you can cut up. So it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes, 3 hours. And I want you guys to come. And she said she's going to look at her calendar. So just stay on her. It's right on the water. It's got 8 bedrooms. It's got a nice party boat. I just
Sounds
need
good.
I need a long weekend. Just you can come on a Thursday night, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday you can leave. It's just a little far for a weekend. So if you can get that one day, that'll make it worth it.
Sounds good.
So just I need you to stay on her, and I will be coming up again next month, and hopefully she'll allow me to stay with her, even though I broke the curtains. But otherwise, it was good. But thank you for all your insight and breakdown of the WNBA. We're getting a lot of good coverage. I'm posting in a lot of the WNBA Facebook groups, and they like the show. They like the analysis. So as much as we can have you on, the better.
Sounds good. Great.
Thank you, Stacy. You have a great week and enjoy your staycation. I am Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them right back at life.